Hey, it's Derek Hagan, financial therapist specializing in meaning in life as well as mindfulness, here with another money health conversation where we're going to talk about money and meaning in life. When we talk about meaning and life, it's often very easy for people to think about what is the meaning of life? What's the meaning of life? These are the deep questions that get made fun of in movies all the time. And sometimes when we're feeling a bit esoteric, we'll think about what's the purpose of all of this? Why are we here? And I want to propose that the meaning of life is an uninteresting question. It's unknown, it's unknowable. Everybody might have their own hypothesis, but we can't know what the meaning of life actually is. So if we can change the question, just change two little letters, we can figure out how to find meaning in life. We can make our stake in the ground. We can plant our own flag and find meaning in our own life. Because for a lot of people, they really want to hurry up and just get to the end. I want to hurry up and retire. I want to hurry up and have kids. I want to hurry up and have my kids go to school. I want to hurry up and be an empty nester. I want to hurry up and find that job or get promoted or be made partner or then retire. All of this with the end in mind. But when we do that, we're missing the meaningful journey. We're missing all of those little pieces that make life worth living. When you look back on your life, you'll realize that your life is just a string of nows. And we do that by thinking about how we might design a meaningful life. And when we think about a meaningful life, there's three different components to this. And the first one is purpose, which is often used synonymously with meaning, or at least combined. People will say, find a life of meaning and purpose. But I posit that this is redundant. It's like saying the fall leaves are beautiful in Minnesota and in the United States. You don't need the purpose thing because purpose is one component of a meaningful life. But purpose is what it sounds like. It's having something interesting to do with your time. It's having something to strive for. It's having something that's greater than yourself that you can use. Now, this doesn't even have to be a big grandiose purpose. This can be something small, like my purpose is to help my elderly neighbors or keep my community clean or volunteer at my school. Something like that. In addition to purpose, though, we've got a sense of coherence. Now, coherence means, does this make sense? Does life make sense? It's hard to have a meaningful life if everything's chaotic and nothing makes sense. So having a sense of coherence is being able to make sense of life and having a narrative that makes life predictable and consistent. And what happens, maybe you don't like it, but at least it makes sense. And the final component is having a sense of significance. Again, it's hard to find meaning in your life, or it's hard to feel like you've got a meaningful life if you don't feel like you've got any value, if you don't feel like life is worth living. So feeling a sense of significance is feeling that life is worthwhile, that it's worth living, that you matter and have value. So these are the areas of meaning. But those come from somewhere. So let's think about where these might come from. And so let's talk about sources of meaning. Now, your sources of meaning are where your meaning comes from. It's kind of like your personal values. And this is deeply personal. So what is a source of meaning for me may not be a source of meaning for you. And you see some examples here: money, family, friendships, nature, spirituality, philosophy, work, leisure, money, toys, stuff. All of these are potential sources of meaning. This is just an example. There's lots of different ideas here. So what are those sources of meaning? And ideally, we'll diversify our sources of meaning across the whole spectrum. So just like investments, I don't want to put all of my money into one company because if something bad happens to that company, I'm ruined. Right? In much the same way, I can't put all of my meaning eggs into one basket. I don't want to have, say, work be my sole source of meaning. Because if something happens to my work, say I get let go, company goes out of business, or even I retire, I've lost my only source of meaning. So I want to have a diversified group of sources of meaning. But again, back to investments, just like I don't want to buy a bunch of companies, but have them all in the same sector, say only buying financial companies or only buying technology companies, because if something happens to that sector, then I'm still in rough shape. So in much the same way, if I have all of my sources of meaning centered in, say, purpose, well, now I'm lopsided. I don't have any sources of meaning in coherence. I don't have any sources of meaning in significance. So we want to have multiple sources of meaning, but we want to have them throughout the different types of meaning: purpose, coherence, and significance. Now you've got your source of meaning, you know what brings meaning to your life. So let's talk about the depth of meaning. Not all sources of meaning are created equal. There are shallow sources of meaning, and there are deep sources of meaning. So a shallow source of meaning is money, for example. Money is a shallow source of meaning. It does provide some meaning, but you can't get a lot of meaning out of it because money is worthless in and of itself. Having a bunch of stuff is a shallow source of meaning. Now, deep sources of meaning are things like social relationships and love and things like that. And here's the thing about that. If you've got a shallow source of meaning versus a deep source of meaning, even if you 100% reap all of the meaning from that shallow source of meaning, you might be getting less meaning than if you had a deeper source of meaning that's not even fully taken advantage of. That is to say, you can get more meaning from deep sources even if you're not utilizing the whole thing. It doesn't mean you should not try to get the most meaning from those sources. It just means that there's a bigger well that you can draw from. And when you think about all this stuff, you can now start to think about how you might design your life. Your life and your money. Money is a tool that you can use to support your life. How do you want to do that? What do you want to use your money for? You want to use your money, whatever you have, to live the best life possible with the money that you have. And the best life possible is going to be a meaningful life. You get one life. Live intentionally.